Hey guys, so I am filming this post production of this episode. I'm in editing right now, and I'm realizing a couple things. So, disclaimer, the sound for whatever reason on this episode is a little odd on my end. I've since ordered a part that will hopefully fix that issue. So, if there's times where you can't hear me super well, or maybe I'm coming in and out, that is why I tried to edit it to the best of my ability to give you the best sound possible. But if there's moments like that, that is why I'm getting it fixed today. Also, there is swearing in this episode. I think I swore in my first episode. I know not everyone is into that. Maybe if you've got little ears around, you might want to grab a pair of headphones or turn it down. Up to you, but I just wanted to kind of offer that disclaimer. So I really hope you enjoy this episode with my friend Ollie Rose.
Hi guys, welcome to Keeping It Normal with Emily. Hi guys, welcome to Keeping It Normal with Emily. We are on the official second episode of this podcast. You guys have been so amazing with the first episode, showing it so much love, downloading it and subscribing, whatever you do. So I appreciate it. It's been really, really fun, and a lot of you have seemed to like it. So today is exciting because we have our first official guest. So this is our second official episode. It's happening. Now it's a real podcast, I think, right? I did more than one episode, so now I'm officially really doing it for real. Again, I'm sitting in my basement in the studio. I just turned off the heat to my house because it creates way too much background noise when I film this. We are going to have our first guest, which I'm so excited about because she's lovely. She's my friend. Her name is Ollie. I met her through TikTok, but she does so much cool stuff and her life is so fascinating to me. So I can't wait for you to hear more from her. And we're going to talk about a lot of stuff. And she's going to pop in here in a little bit. But this is our second attempt at recording this. Actually, our third, but the first attempt went horrifically wrong. And we're going to talk about it when she pops in here. But I'm so excited for you to hear about her life because I think you're going to find it really interesting because I do. So Ollie, I would love for you to introduce yourself to anyone who does not already know who you are.
Yeah. My name is Ollie Rose. I've been on TikTok for what has it been? 3.5 years. I make videos. I make videos about parenting and also just stuff. I don't know. I'm no niche.
I know. I feel that.
Yeah.
I'm the same way.
I'm the jack of all trades, master of none type thing.
And how old are you? Did you say that?
I'm 29. I turned 30 in June.
You're a baby. Look at you.
Bro,
almost 30.
How old are you?
I'm 30. But my birthday is March 3rd. So
almost 31.
Well, that's older. And so technically, this is our third time attempt at recording this.
Yeah.
But the first time, which if I have a clip of it, I will insert it with what happened.
Yeah, I did.
Which one? Hold on. One of my kids is crying.
No, you're good.
She threw up? Hannah did? Oh, okay. I might have to go. My kid.
Yeah, that's totally fine. We can do this again. We can start over.
Okay.
And do it another day.
Okay. Of course. Ooh. All right. All right. I'll text you.
Yeah. No problem at all, dude. It's totally fine.
Okay.
It was a good warm up.
It was a good warm up. Okay. I'll text you. But we were actively recording, and then all of a sudden I just hear crying and I hear footsteps running and my husband looking frantic, and he's basically telling me that our daughter had thrown up everywhere. And I was like, oh crap. Okay. And then we got her back to sleep right away. And I was like, cool. And I texted you and I was like, let's jump right back in. We start recording and then there's more screaming and
more vomit.
I didn't know what was about to unfold, but it turned out to be norovirus, which is, I have flashbacks of what happened. Kind of unintentionally exploded the internet, which is always unintentional, I find.
Oh yeah.
With my puke bowl controversy.
I don't understand how it's controversial.
It's controversial because I then eat out of it.
Well, you're not eating the vomit, you clean it.
It's true.
I don't understand why it's gross.
I feel like there's two types of people in this world, and I didn't realize it before. And did you grow up that way?
I grew up with a popcorn bowl. We had a red popcorn bowl that was always the vomit bowl too.
Yes. So that's what we're talking about. We're talking about how I put on the internet proudly, because I saw no shame in it, that I have this plastic bowl that when I'm vomiting, or usually a child, let's be honest, because I can make it to the bathroom, but if someone is vomiting, I'm putting a bowl in front of their face. And then that same bowl is cleaned and used again. And it is my Halloween candy bowl and my popcorn bowl and my chip bowl. And if I ever bake, bowl. And then I put that on the internet. And so like it was split. It was either
people are all about like a low waste lifestyle until you introduce to them things like this. It's low waste. You don't need more than one bowl.
That's what I'm thinking. Everyone's like, buy plastic bags. And I'm like, the environment.
That's not good for the environment. You're killing turtles. You've saved many a turtle, many a dolphin with your vomit popcorn puke bowl.
To save the planet. But but you have one too. So
yeah.
Anyone who's against it.
Yours is a Tupperware though. Mine's a Rubbermaid. It's from the Dollar General.
It is a Tupperware, and it's like
it's a good green, like I feel like you have a really good solid like vomit popcorn candy bowl.
It is. And it's like 14 years old. Or no, maybe not that old. Like 10 years old. It's probably 10 years old. Tupperware has a lifelong guarantee. So that's
our vomit popcorn bowl, I had my whole life up until my parents split, and then my mom dumped everything that was in her half of the truck. Okay. And I wish I could have it back, honestly.
I'm curious to anyone listening what side you fall on, because it seems like you're one or the other. And I don't know where did you grow up?
I grew up in England, but it's not an English thing because my dad is from podunk nowhere. I think it's an American thing.
I did have some people commenting from other countries, like, why?
My mom assimilated. I'm sure there was probably some fight somewhere. She's too proper for that. I came from very proper people. My Nana never wore jeans. She only wore a pantsuit. And I just, look at me.
That's some energy, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not mad at that. So you are on what platforms? Where do you make content?
I mainly make content on TikTok, but that's because that's like my home. Right. That's where I started. And I also do Instagram, a little bit of the YouTube, and then a little bit of the Facebook, my ducks, but mostly TikTok and Instagram.
Yeah. So that's where I discovered you, was TikTok.
Yeah. That's where I discovered you.
Yeah. Where we met.
The Dino Nugget fiasco.
The Dino Nuggets, tinsel titties.
Yeah. I'm a big mouth, so I had to say something, you know?
Me too. We've calmed down, I think. We've become more...
I feel like we calmed down a bunch, and like people that don't like us won't allow for that.
But so what, I've already asked you this the first time we tried to record, but I'll ask you again. So what was it that like made you join TikTok? And then what was it that, like, what was your thing that started blew you up?
Yeah. So for context for everybody else, my husband was a traveling electrician. He was working in Colorado, and I was by myself in Reno with two boys. Yeah. No family, no friends around to help. But I was lonely, and I didn't really know what TikTok was. My husband was just like, yeah, I'm using this app called TikTok. I'm watching videos on this. And I was like, that looks really fucking stupid. And then eventually I downloaded it, and he was like, yeah, you'll be making videos eventually. And I was like, no, sir, I will not. That's embarrassing. But here we are. The first video that I made, though, was an eyebrow tinting tutorial, but I didn't know how to use TikTok. So it was 5 parts. It was a 5-part series on how to tint your eyebrows with beard dye, and all 5 parts went viral.
Wow. And so you blew up pretty quickly then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of just like saw an opportunity, and I was like, I'm going to keep going, because I spent my whole high school career being like, fuck you guys, I'm not going to college. I'm going to be famous.
I was voted most likely to be famous when I was in high school.
Were you? Yeah. When I was in high school, I was going to be like a famous actress. I was like, I'm going to be on TV and in movies. And I hit like the Z-rated version of that, which is like TikTok content creator. Yeah, I make videos because I'm lonely, and I just do kid things all day. So I just talk to my phone.
You have like what, 1.4, 1.5?
Yeah, 1.4.
That's a lot of
million.
Yeah, let me clarify. 1.4 million.
Yeah, I got millions of subs, you guys. Don't let her downplay me.
Not 1.4 thousand. But what I think is really cool is you saw that and became like a badass businesswoman. Like, I'm just going to make a whole business. I'm like, what? That like blows my mind a little bit still when I think about it.
Everybody was making sticker shops and I wanted in on that. So I woke up one morning and I was like, I'm going to have a sticker shop. And my husband was like, are you sure you don't know how to draw? And I was like, I will teach myself.
You're amazing at that though. Cause I've seen you do it several times. You're just like, yeah, I want to make this thing. And then you just like learn the skill and you're like, okay, I made the thing, like crocheting.
It was 48 hours. I wanted that peekaboo crochet top where it shows like the pika underboob. I wanted that, but I didn't want to pay for it. And I totally think that people who crochet those, the price is worth it. I just like, I could do it. Yeah. So I spent 48 hours. I don't even think it was that long. I made 3 in 48 hours. And by the third one, I'd perfected it. And I was like, all right, I've had enough.
Yeah. So you made stickers, but now you have like a whole shop.
Yeah. I taught myself and I had some friends or a friend. She actually owns, I'm going to shout her out. She owns Dark Mother Co. Her name is Lauren. She is phenomenal. She has like a business that is like alternative mommy type shit. Goth alt stuff. Yeah, she's fucking rad. But she was talking about like getting stuff manufactured. And so I messaged her one day and I was like, could I pick your brain and ask a couple questions? And she helped me out like with the starting process. And then
it's so wild to me. And I was bragging and talking to my mom about you too. And she was like, so she just like makes stuff. I'm like, yeah, she just designs it and has it manufactured and sells it. I'm like, that's so crazy. Yeah.
I designed a bag. I designed 2 stuffed animals. I had all of those manufactured. I designed some mugs, but there's been some supply and demand issues.
Oh, I want to talk about your family a little bit.
Oh yeah.
Your marriage, your babies.
Oh yeah. My marriage and babies. Yeah. I have a turkey baster baby.
I know. And it's so cool. It's so fascinating. Because I just think like you hear so many stories. Like I saw a story the other day. I think it was, when I say that, by the way, it means I saw a TikTok. Let's be real.
Yeah.
Like, where I get all of my...
I've started telling people, I read an article when it's really, I watched a TikTok, but people won't take me seriously if I say I watched it on a TikTok. So I'm always like, I read this article a couple of days ago.
But it was this TikTok of this grandma, like, it was like the couple had like 2 kids and then they had like all of this unexplained infertility. Mm-hmm. And then their grandma at like 56 carried their baby as a surrogate and
I saw that. It was so cool.
Yes. And I was like, that is amazing. And so it made me think of you and your, so why don't we delve into that a little bit and how, so you were married, but.
Oh man. Yeah. So it's context. This touches base with like our podcast. So my husband and I, when he was, I just hit my microphone, my ducks, when he was living in Colorado and I was living in Reno, for like over a fucking year, the marriage got rockier. I mean, there was issues before that, but
you had kids young, right?
Yeah. I had my oldest, I had when I was 21 and my second, I was, I think 24. Mm-hmm. But he was living in Colorado. Eventually, after a year or so, I was like, I want a divorce. Yeah. And so he moved back to Reno and we just decided we were going to co-parent together. So we were going to raise our kids together. We didn't want to have them in separate homes. Fiscally, it didn't make sense in this economy. Not that there's like a problem when people split the household up, but we started the co-parenting journey. Shit was rocky for a little bit. And then we started our podcast, which is us basically working through like right after us saying we were going to get divorced. We were co-parenting, we were together, we were doing really well. But then, our middle at the time was like getting older and I was like, fuck, I want another baby. But like, I didn't want to have to like bring anybody else in, I didn't want to have to find somebody else and meet somebody else. And he didn't want to have to do that either. And it just made sense. We were already stuck together, we already got kids. We already know each other's flaws and shit. So
you did it at home.
Yeah, I did it at home.
Company.
First try. Oh yeah. The company is called Mosey Baby. I'm not being paid to say this. I bought it myself.
And so your first try, it worked.
The baby thing, honestly, like a week before I was ovulating, I was like, hey, I ovulate in a week. You want to give this a go? And he was like, yeah, sure. So I bought it and then we did it.
Oh, now we're having a baby.
Now we have a science project baby.
And you wait, okay. So when was he born during, is he considered a pandemic baby?
I think so. We conceived him during the pandemic, the November of 2020. And then he was born August of 2021.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you had hyperemesis.
I did.
Which is
for all three of them.
Vomit all the time. Oh gosh.
The whole fucking time. It's god awful.
And what is like, I am someone who, I don't know who loves it, but like I hate vomiting so much. I will avoid it with every fiber of my being. Like I will sit there miserable before I throw up. And I didn't throw up with either of my pregnancies, not one time. And I always was like, in my head, I was like, if I had been so sick, like, I don't think I would have had more kids. So what made you be like, yeah, let's do it again?
Your hormones, man. I know some people say that it doesn't matter, but I forgot. Truly, if you asked me right now, if you were like, do you think you could do it a fourth time? I would be like, yeah, for sure. Vomit for 9 months. Who gives a shit? Yeah, I'll vomit 30 times a day for 9 months. That's cake. And yeah, but I know I can't.
Yeah, I can't even imagine. And so you're pregnant. You're planning on, at what point? Because let's, spoiler alert, they're together again.
Yeah. Also, disclaimer too, we did not have a baby to fix this marriage. No part of this baby was like a fix it baby. It was literally like, I wanted another child and he did too. But like outside of his consent, I knew I could do it by myself. And I asked myself over and over, like, can you take care of 3 kids by yourself? Can you do this? But everything had to be done by myself, just in case he fucking fell through and didn't pull a complete 180, you know?
Yeah. And you didn't really, was that even on your mind, or in your mind where you're like,
no.
What point did it start to shift where you were like, oh, wait, this might be working?
Kind of a tiny bit. And while I was pregnant, mostly because my first 2 pregnancies, I was pretty like neglected and threw up a lot and wasn't really helped. Like my second pregnancy, I was taking care of a 2-year-old who'd been newly diagnosed as autistic, and just that's necessary for context when you're dealing, like, if you can imagine the emotional meltdowns that he's having it too. Yeah. And then I was taking care of my husband. I was taking care of my brother, who is a little bit younger than me, and my husband's cousin, because we were all living in the same house and the 3 of them worked together. So I was taking care of like 3 grown ass men while vomiting all fucking day, taking care of a baby. Nobody was helping me. So pregnancy, the 3rd time, I didn't do shit.
Yeah. Good.
Kaliko did it all.
Good.
And it was really nice.
Yeah.
And then during labor, I had a really traumatic labor, and he was really fucking awesome during my labor.
Did you? I don't know that I've ever.
Yeah. So the first 2, I had epidurals for both. They're pretty uncomplicated. I fucking love the epi. Yay. But yeah, 3rd time I go to the hospital. I had already been in labor for like 40 something hours. They kept sending me home. And finally I get there, but there's also a shit ton of other women in labor at the exact same time as me, and all of them want an epidural. So I was not able to get an epidural in time. Basically, they gave me fentanyl a couple of times to help with the cramps, or not cramps, the labor pains. It was really bad. It was the worst fucking pain. And then the ER guy that does the fucking what anesthesiologist? Yep, the ER one. He came because the other one was busy, and nobody like checked me before doing the epidural, and I kept telling people like, I feel like I have to poop. Oh no. And they were like, oh, okay. And I said it multiple times, and nobody's like hearing me. I'm like, I feel really close, and nobody's fucking listening. So they put the epidural in. It doesn't work. And then I like faint, and then my blood pressure, I don't remember what happened. My blood pressure or something dropped. I literally thought I was going to die. And then, they go to put the catheter in, because when you got the epi in, you need the catheter, right? Well, the epi was only working on my left side, not my right side. And then it stopped working like altogether. And I felt them put the catheter in, and it was the most painful fucking thing I've ever experienced in my life. And I kept telling them like, this hurts, please stop. And they didn't listen. And then when she got the catheter in all the way, my water broke. So she ripped my catheter out right afterwards.
God.
And then there's like monitors beeping and shit's going off and I'm falling in and out of consciousness. And then all of a sudden there's a fucking shit ton of like nurses walking in. There's a doctor who walks in who's like, why are we all just standing around? What's going on? Nobody's really paying attention. I had never felt like labor pains where I have to push before because I always had the epidural. So I didn't know when I was supposed to push. And I was in and out of consciousness so much that I didn't know what was going on. And none of the nurses were like directing me on when to push. And so Kuliko, like, he didn't fully physically get on top of me, but his whole upper body was like above me. And he was like directing my breathing. He completely took control of the situation because the medical professionals were not taking control of the fucking situation. And it was just such a shitty experience, but he was so fucking good during that experience. Like, yeah.
Wow. Well, I mean, if that didn't seal the deal for that being your last kid.
I gotta say though, it is cool being able to like feel the ring of fire and shit. It's cool to feel, I feel like it was not as bad as people say.
I feel like when you're in the, like, I don't remember if I felt it or not.
I did not the first 2 times with the epidural. I did not feel any of it. I mean,
I didn't feel my first one, but the second one, I know I felt like, I'll just say like at the end of the birth of the second one, I felt every stitch.
Yeah.
So I'm like, did I feel it at somewhat? And you're just,
you might have.
There's so much adrenaline and so much, it was like, my second son, he had the cord around his neck. So at one point they were like, and he was fucking massive. And they were like, you gotta, push, get him out. And like, you just go into like Hulk mode.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I don't even know what I felt or what I didn't. So something we both have in common is we do gentle parenting on the internet.
Yeah.
I don't think any of us, like, that's not like our main thing, but we definitely both practice that. But the world doesn't like the word gentle parenting.
No, they hear the word gentle and then they're immediately like, nope.
So were you, I'm always curious, like, were you always a gentle parent, or is that something, and I'll just use that term. We don't like that term, but I'm just using it. Okay. You know what we mean. So were you always a gentle parent, or was there like at some point you were like, no, I want to like switch to this?
It's so weird because I was brought up with no gentle parenting. Like I was screamed at, yelled at, whooped, like all of the general thing. I was about to say normal, but the older I get, the more I'm like, that wasn't what everybody was doing. But my parents did not teach me any sort of like emotional regulation or like how to experience my emotions because they didn't know how to experience their emotions. And so when I became a parent, my oldest started to get a bit older. Kids will do things that trigger shit from your childhood. And so once he hit 2, he was starting to do things that reminded me of my childhood. And I would remember what my mom and my dad would do. Right. And in my head, I would be like, I don't really want to do that.
Right.
Is that the rule? Like, I'm not going to hit my 2-year-old.
Maybe my biggest surprise in motherhood or parenthood is the way you can be triggered and like, it almost like could cause, it could cause so many things, but like almost like rage sometimes, or like
rage for sure. Well, even just like with my 2-year-old, he would do stuff and like people will swat hands. And so I used to be a hand swatter, but that's not, you know what I mean? Like then I realized when I was doing a hand swat, it was only happening because I had been triggered to have some sort of like dysregulated emotion, some sort of frustration or anger. And the hand swat was only like a sort of physical release for me. It was nothing more than that.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like it's hardly ever discipline when that's used. And it's reaction that people just guise as discipline to make them feel better.
People really like instant gratification, and teaching people emotional regulation takes literal years, but you get faster results if you beat someone into submission, you know?
Mm-hmm. And it's so hard when you have to admit that you have to be teaching yourself it at the same time. Yeah. Because it's so challenging. I didn't realize how bad I was at emotional regulation before.
It's taken me years to get to a place where I can actually say I am proud of my like emotional intelligence. So whenever people comment on my videos and they're like, oh my God, like you're so patient. I'm like, yeah, it took fucking years, my dude. I promise you, it's not overnight. But you know what? And it's funny because when my brother visits, he'll make comments about how he's like, wow, you're really nice. Like you don't really yell that much. I feel like I yell a lot and I must not, because my brother is like, you're so kind. And like the only time my kids ever, you know what? I yelled at Nohea a few weeks ago, like actually yelled, and he got a warning that I was going to yell at him and he cried like tears. And it made me realize like he's not used to me raising my voice.
Yeah.
So it was like his feelings were hurt because I don't raise my voice.
Right. Which is like, you feel bad, but then you're like, kind of feel good because it means you don't do it very often.
No, exactly. No, that was literally what it was. I was like, fuck, I shouldn't have raised my voice, but I did fucking warn him, and he gets to take some accountability for that shit. Like, yeah. I told him I was feeling frustrated and I needed to be in my room for a minute, and he kept coming in and he was like, I'm going to bug you. And I was like, I'm going to yell, bro. Yeah. Please get out. And he was like, no. And so then I yelled, get out. And he cried. I was like, take accountability for that, bro. I told you.
I told you. I tried.
I fucking told you. Yeah, man. I feel like that's the worst that I do.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like that's a hard one to like, I don't think anyone can never yell. I don't believe
No. I'll ask my kids sometimes, because we keep an open dialogue on that. I'll be like, is there anything that I'm doing that you don't like, that, you know, makes you feel upset or angry? And my middle one, he'll tell me like, I like when you keep your happy. I don't like when you get grumpy. So it's not even the yelling at this point. It's just like, if I'm irritated by shit, then I allow it to control my mood. Right. And so he obviously recognizes that. But
that's been like the biggest, I was going to ask you, like, what do you think is the biggest like reward you've seen from it? Even though, like, I mean, obviously we're still new to this. Our kids aren't that old.
Yeah.
But that has been like the biggest thing for me is like my eldest is only 4, but like the open dialogue we have, and like she'll just call me shit, and I don't get offended. I'm like, you're right. Like I hear you. Like I don't even know.
No, that's it.
Yeah. I'm like, that I feel like is the biggest reward for me, is that they are not afraid because they're not being disrespectful or whatever. Yeah. They're just calling me on my shit, which is fair. And I want them to.
That's what I want them to do too. I love that shit. When I was still working on the transition to like not yell as much, actually, you know what? Now that we're talking about this out loud, I'm like, wow, I've come a really long way. I'm going to toot my own horn. But my oldest used to like, if I was going on at my middle and like yelling, my oldest would come out of his room and be like, no more yelling.
Yeah.
And I would be like, okay, you're right.
You're right.
You're right. I'm so sorry. My child should not be needing to regulate my fucking voice level.
I can't, like, if I would have said that, like my mom.
Oh, I would have gotten my fucking face smacked off. I would have gotten my ass beat. My mom would have beat the fuck out of me.
They never did that, but it was very like a lot of it was fear based.
Yeah.
Or that's how I perceived it. Like I was scared. But
no, my mom would have gotten in my face and yelled so bad that like I would have tasted her spit, and then she probably would have smacked my mouth off.
Yikes. Yeah. I think I definitely would have gotten like the like let me parent, like get back in your room or something. Yeah, I forgot. Something happened the other day, and Hannah my eldest is fairly emotional, which is fine. I'm emotional. But sometimes when you're in a dysregulated state and someone's like crying in your ear over something, I said something too snippy. I don't know what I said. Probably just like, okay, we need to stop crying over that or something. And she was like, it's okay to cry. I'm like, you're right.
You're not wrong, but I'm feeling feelings.
Okay. So I want to talk about our houses, because that's something that I talk about a lot on the interwebs, and you do your fair share too.
Yeah.
You recently,
I moved away from it for a little bit because I forgot how mean people get.
But I like, because I really like that you kind of make first of all, I just like your house. So if you're not following Ollie on social media, like, I'll put your social media on the podcast stuff, but you like show like cool aspects of your house on social media, but you just did your kitchen,
Oh yeah, it's Star Wars boho. It's boho Star Wars themed.
It's so cool.
Thank you. Yeah, my dog died, so I was like, I'm gonna paint my kitchen. So I have a giant mural on my wall. It's got this like boho Death Star and like clouds, and it's terracotta pink with this beautiful deep navy blue. There's a Darth Maul quote on it that I absolutely love. It's like a live, laugh, love, but it's Darth Maul, and it says every choice that you have made has led you to this moment, or something like that.
Yeah, but then you have a ball pit, and then you put a sensory
ball pit
above your ball pit. Like, I just love that shit. I'm like, yes,
it's neurodivergent friendly, kid friendly fucking house.
I'm like, just make your house whatever you want it to be. I will just never be one of those bitches with like the aesthetic. And I say bitches with love, by the way. I'm not.
Yeah. I used to be one of those bitches. There was a time where I collected Ray Dunn. So like I was real big on the fucking like modern farmhouse decor. I loved that shit.
My house used to be clean and like when I had all the time.
When I had one kid, my house was very clean.
Oh yeah, me too. And then once you add, for me it was the next one.
Mm-hmm.
The second kid came.
The second one.
It was done.
And then I added the third one in, and I homeschool. Like what do you guys fucking expect from me? I can't clean my house spotless every day and homeschool my kid and take care of 3 children and cook my kids 9 separate foods and attempt to feed myself. Like, please, I cannot.
And I was just thinking today, I was like, you know what's going to be so great when the kids are in school all day and like I can get all of the bullshit done like quickly, efficiently. And then like when they come home, I'm going to be in such a great mood.
Oh yeah, such a good mood.
And I'm like, that makes me kind of fucking sad because wouldn't it be nice if I could do that now when they're little, when everyone is telling me to enjoy them when they're little?
But it's too hard because capitalism took away our village. Like we're doing the work of 10 fucking people like at once.
And then, so the shitty thing is, or I don't think it's shitty, but I've like realized that and I'm like, okay, cool. I'm putting the house stuff aside. I can't stay up every night for 2 hours cleaning my house for it to be destroyed the next day. For the sake of what? For who? It does not bring me joy.
No. And you know what? By the time the kids hit, I don't fucking remember my house when I was 6. Am I supposed to? I don't know. But I don't remember it. I don't think my mom and dad spent their times like dusting every fucking inch. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure there was a point before I became an older child where the house was chaos.
And I've never like gone, I don't think I ever had, maybe we just weren't in that tax bracket, but I never had like friends that had, like they all had normal ass houses. It was never these big, super aesthetic marble counter. Like I didn't know anybody like that.
Yeah, no.
It's just a normal house. And like I can even say like, there was one friend who had her house was pretty cluttered. It was pretty more than average cluttered, right?
Yeah.
And I had every time she had like this entire like, her dad collected all these like toys in the basement and had this whole like village and she had like 12 parrots. And she had the coolest fucking house. And we used to like make bubble gum, homemade. It was just so cool.
I want to be that house. Like nobody gives a shit.
Didn't care one bit that it was like messy. My house was messy. And like, I wasn't like, oh, she's not a cool person because of that. It's like, I had a fucking blast.
Yeah. Well, and people will see the clutter and be like, you're a hoarder. And I'm like, no, I'm literally not. I just bought a house that literally does not have a fucking linen closet or a fucking coat closet. Sorry. Suck my butthole. Sorry.
And even like my house is bigger than the one I moved from and it still doesn't have a ton of storage. Like it has a space and it has one big closet upstairs. I'm like, that's it. That's what I got.
I have my garage. My garage is it. And then like my closet. Gosh. When my kids are older, it's not going to be like this. But I have a fucking...
But yeah, the internet's wild. Life is wild.
Yeah.
I just find it funny how much emphasis people put on shit that really doesn't
matter.
They think it
because people are chronically online. I mean, I'm chronically online, but at least I'm aware, which makes it better.
I know.
I'll hit levels. I'll be like, you know what? I'm worrying too much about things that literally don't exist because the internet's not fucking real. I should go touch some grass.
I saw something. Maybe it was you that sent it.
Could have been.
I saw something. I heard something interesting that like I've seen couple people say that it's our brains are not meant to handle this much information.
Oh no, I just say that all the time.
Such rapid speed and so much like, terrible news and like news stuff all the time. Like just
and we're not supposed to be in contact with so many people. Like it's none of our fucking business to know the business of millions of fucking people.
Obviously, we know if we put our life online, even though it shouldn't, it comes with the
people will say things. Yeah.
People will say things. And the biggest thing, and that can be like a struggle if you're like a people pleasing person like myself.
Oh yeah. When I first started TikTok, I used to rip all the skin off the bottom of my feet and I'd walk around on like bare bleeding foot pads. My anxiety and OCD was so overly triggered. Mm-hmm.
But that was the line. You said it or someone else said it and was just like, what other people think of us as like none of our business. And I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Damn.
It's none of your fucking business what other people think.
Yeah. And I'm like,
and it's so hard to remind myself that shit because sometimes I'm like, yes, but I'm curious. Nope, you're not, because you know what they're going to say.
I know. It's true.
I already know like every reason that people don't like me.
It's true.
You know why people don't like you. You don't need to torture yourself more by like forcing yourself to read it.
It's true. It's hard not to, but it's true.
Yeah, it's so hard not to. It's really hard not to.
Yeah. So, right. But we got into the discussion the other day that I really love how you communicate and like for real, because I've started using stuff because we would say something and obviously like it's via text a lot of the time.
Oh yeah.
Like a voice message, but if it's via text and someone says something, like tone can be so easily missed on text. And what I love is like, you're just like, okay, what did that mean? Or like,
I have to ask. Yeah.
People don't. And it has changed like how I communicate in my other relationships. Cause I'll just be like, cause it's like, well, just ask. And I'm like, oh, it's so simple.
Just ask for clarification. Like I can just ask people like what they fucking mean. Yeah. I have to ask. And I love it in our group chat that we can all like, just casually ask each other those things. Like if you're not friends with people that you can ask like to elaborate, then why are you friends with them?
Yeah. Or like very immediately, like if you have perceived that someone has misunderstood you in any way, you're like, I'm so sorry if that came off this way. And it's like, let me clarify what I meant. It's like, why? That's such it's literally was kind of mind blowing because I'm like, that seems so simple. That's not in normal conversation.
No.
With other people.
No, I have so many friends and I try really hard. I don't have so many friends to go for. I meant like I've had so many friends that have like, they don't want to like elaborate, or they really think that I have like an insidious like thing, and I'm like, no, my tone was off. I didn't mean it to be like that. Like, or can you please clarify what you're saying so I can give you what you need? I don't understand. Just use your fucking words. People can't do it. Well, this is also a touchy subject because I've realized I have a lot of bad friends. Like, it's not hard. It drives me nuts. Like, how? Just use your fucking words.
People don't want to. I know, but they don't. They don't, and they read something wrong, and instead of saying something or asking about it, they then have a chip on their shoulder about it. And then the next time you say something, they're like, well, she really means it like this. And I think the world would just like literally just use your words. Just
everyone should just be like me. And when you don't like somebody, tell them and then stop talking to them right afterwards. And everybody will be happier.
Well, not the people you stop talking to. Blunt as hell.
Well, I say it nicely, but obviously nobody wants to.
I think, but you know what? So many people are afraid to do that.
I would fucking kill for that respect for somebody to be like, you know what? Yeah. I think, like you as a person is chill, but I don't think that we mesh very well. And I don't think being your friend is good for my mental health. And you know what? If somebody could just fucking tell me that.
Like you could go through the emotion. Yeah. I think, I've been like ghosted by friends before. And I'm like, I would have rather you just said to my face, like, I don't like you anymore.
Like, I don't want to be your friend anymore. It's not giving what I was wanting. Okay, fine.
Yeah. But I bet you like people listening to this, if they imagine themselves saying that to someone, they'd be like, no, cringe.
No. I do it. I do it. And you know what? It doesn't feel nice when you do it, but then I'm 10 times better after.
And they would be too. As weird as that sounds, like as someone that was like ghosted by several people all at once, I wish something would have been said right then, and then I would have been like heartbroken, but then like grieved and got over it right away, instead of like years of like wondering.
That's it. Like why aren't we treating adult friendships like relationships in a sense? If your friendship is still a sort of relationship, if it's not fucking working out for you, why are you holding on to it? Don't make them waste their lives too. Right. The last 2 years, I give myself a goal by December. If there are people that I think about over a period of time have not been good for my mental health, and there has been ongoing problems, I have broken up before the new year. And the new year starts great. And I would 10 out of 10 advise others to do it too.
Clear out the roster.
Clear out the fucking roster, whatever. No offense, not everybody meshes.
Yeah. But no, it is the better way. It truly is like that. It sounds harsh and it sounds whatever, but that's because people don't want, I don't know. They want to avoid that. They want to avoid the conflict.
Nobody wants to receive a text message that says, hey, I don't want to be your friend anymore because I don't trust you. But sometimes you just got to say it.
But I mean, then you move on and it's okay.
Yeah.
So I'll end this with, I'll ask a question of what should I ask? Okay, we'll do some, because I'm sure there's lots of people that like maybe are pregnant or are about to have kids. So with your situation, what advice would you give for partners to best support a new mom, like a new person that's had a child, I guess? Because
you know what? For the partner, the best advice, you need to look up and research postpartum anxiety, postpartum depression, postpartum psychosis, every type of fucking postpartum shit. Look up all of the shit for mental health. Look at the difference between baby blues and postpartum depression, and how baby blues isn't like, is that even a thing anymore, dude?
It is. But
is it?
It is. I think
because
so.
I feel like people use that term to water down depression.
I think though, baby blue I'm an expert in nothing, but I do have Google, and I'm not Googling this. In my take or whatever in my brain right now, baby blues is those like just strictly like those hormonal changes where like you're just crying for no reason, and truly no reason, not because you have postpartum depression or anxiety, but just your hormones are wild right after you give birth. Just
that would make sense.
And
oh my God, after I had Kaimana, I cried for like a week because I just loved him so much. And my husband. I was like, I love all of you so much.
I feel like those are like the baby blues. Like the hormonal shifts that happen in those first, like it could be a week, it could be 2 weeks, I don't know. But like sometimes you're just crying out of nowhere. Sometimes it's out of happiness. Sometimes you're so exhausted. Sometimes you're just sitting there and you're just crying. You don't know. And I feel
makes
like
sense.
Yeah, like you're just kind of like, and it's intense and it's so much. And then whereas like all that other stuff is a different level. It's not.
That would make sense. Then yeah, I would say for your partner's sake, look up everything to do with postpartum mental health. Yeah. Fucking learn that shit, understand that shit. Yeah. And also make sure you're changing fucking diapers.
Change the diapers.
And doing shit.
Yeah. Get up with.
Make dinner for your partner. Like literally they grew a baby.
Yeah.
Fucking take care of them.
Yes.
Not the baby, the mom. Nobody takes care of the mom. Kaliko took care of me this round though, and it was fucking lovely. He always made sure that I had food. Yeah. He took the baby after feedings to do the burping. We got it so like the baby was used to my husband putting him to sleep instead of me putting him to sleep. Like take initiative. Be a see something, do something person.
That's such the good one. Take initiative. Because the last
shit.
The last thing that you want to be doing is like having to direct someone else on what to do. Ooh, that's so good. Take initiative. I love that. But I want to thank you because you're my first guest, and I really appreciate it because you're an amazing.
Thank you
friend.
for letting me be here, dude. I'm so proud of you. Truly, from the bottom of my heart, I'm so proud of you, and I'm so thankful that you are letting me be on here. Thank you.
Thank you. And I love you.
Yeah.
Maybe you could be on again and we'll delve into all those other topics.
Oh yeah. Bring me back. I'll bring you onto mine too.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, or we'll say bye.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Bye.
I just want to thank you guys so much for all your love and support. We are just getting started with this podcast. And big shout out to Lauren. Thank you. You're an amazing friend. Thank you for telling me more about your life and coming on my podcast. I will see you guys next week. This is Keeping It Normal with Emily.